In this video, we'll be taking an in-depth look at the mixer section, starting with the source selection area, the EQ and filter, the channel faders and crossfader, and the all-new Automix feature. We'll also show you the headphone section for cueing and monitoring your mix, how to set your levels before you play, and the level meters for monitoring your mix. This is the main source selection for the mixer. Here you can switch between the deck sources or external players. When using an external audio source, ensure that the line phono switch is set accordingly on the back of the unit. This section of the mixer is where you can cut or add certain bands of frequencies. Here are the highs, where you'll find hi-hats, whooshes, and top-end percussion. You can usually find vocals, snares, and leads in the mid-range. Finally, the bass, which is generally reserved for bass lines and kick drums. Below the EQ on each channel is a high and low-pass filter built into one knob. Turn this filter to your right and it cuts the low end out of your channel. Turn it to the left and you'll cut out all of the highs and mids. Keep the knob at 12 o'clock and the filter is bypassed. This part of the mixer is where most of your time will be spent in the mix. The channel faders are the same 50mm faders used on the rest of the DJM range. These control the volume of the channel from 0 to the maximum level you have set by the trim knob. Below the channel faders is the crossfader. This is used to fade between the decks, deck 1 to the left and 2 on the right. If you leave the fader in the center, you will get equal output of each channel. The crossfader also has an adjustable curve and through function. The setting on the right is a sharp cut. Only the slightest movement is needed before it fully fades in the other channel. This is useful for scratching or cutting in sounds rhythmically. The center option gives the volume of the opposite channel a smooth gradient when fading. This is used for blending tracks together gradually. When set to through, the crossfader is bypassed, allowing you to control the volume solely from the channel faders. Hit the Automix button to automatically mix tracks one after another from playlists. This is perfect for keeping the music going even if you have to step away from your decks. Here's where you will find all the controls and settings for listening back to your mix and cueing through your headphones. This mixing knob lets you choose to hear the cue sources or the master output, depending on where you set it. To the left is cue, and to the right is master. To cue your channels before they are output, you must select one or both channels via the Channel 1 and Channel 2 buttons below the headphone volume knob. Finally, this knob allows you to set your headphone volume. Setting your levels can be a very personal process for some DJs. However, as a general guide, you can set your trim and EQ knobs to 12 o'clock. If your channels are in the red on the meters, you can turn down the trim until they stay in the green and yellow. Set the master at an appropriate volume for your environment. The default meter view shows the pre-fader and pre-EQ volume of your left and right decks. The meters can be used in combination with the trim control to make sure both decks are the same volume before you mix them in. Hit the master button and the LEDs will monitor the master output of your mix. To get the best sound, your level should always be in the green and never in the red. This video concludes the main content of the support series on the XDJ-Aero. We hope these videos have been helpful. Please look out for any later additions and updates. If you have any questions about what we've covered, you can discuss them online with other Pioneer users and Pioneer experts at forums.pioneerdj.com.